This is Pharaoh's house.
Equilibrium to you and welcome. In this Podisode, reversal of misfortune or altering health status for the better, renewal patterns, get to know them, and finally, recipe for clear non-circular thinking in tincture and tea in my holistic health tip. In this first segment, the topic is reversal of misfortune, altering health status for the better. I begin with a multi-gradient question. Can a reversal of health status be done? What does it take? And when is it optimal to do so? Reversal of fortune is a phrase that describes a situation where someone or something experiences a sudden and dramatic change from good fortune or luck or success to bad luck or misfortune, or vice versa. Perhaps you've heard the phrase from rags to riches. Inverse or reverse logic says that there can also be riches to rags. This would be considered a misfortune. In essence, these are two complementary opposites of one type of status, in this case wealth or poverty. For this Podisode, the primary focus is reversal of misfortune in terms of any given health status. So, can a reversal of health status be done? Yes, depending on certain conditions like timing and extenuating overall will balance. Also, keep in focus that the built-in design format of certain so-called cells greatly affects how and whether they will renew. For example, nephrons, proximal tubule cells, podocytes, endothelial, mesangial, and tubular epithelial renal cells. Extenuating overall will balance mandates that your mental and physical will collaborate to achieve and maintain balance. Essentially, your intentions and actions collaborate to re-achieve balance based on renewal timing patterns. More on renewal timing in the next segment of this Podisode. Visualize a network of gears in an analog watch, all moving according to design and function. This essentially is how your vessel or body functions in terms of renewal patterns for the vast grid of components that make up your biophysical self. Each spinning gear would represent a particular cycle for a certain component or set of components like heart cells or hair cells. Like a watch's gears, you and other external forces influence these cycles. Sentient vessel renewal cycles are a symphony of so-called cellular regeneration. And yes, sound acts as one of those influencing forces. As a living organism, portals we are, and we are constantly changing. From the delicate renewal patterns of skin cell turnover to the robust regeneration of liver cells or liver tissues, sentient vessels possess an array of built-in renewal cycles at the so-called cellular level. These cycles play a vital role in maintaining health, growth, and overall well-being. We'll now delve deeper into this world of sentient vessel renewal cycles, exploring their timing frames or timing renewal patterns, specific grids involved, and their potential connection to so-called environmental or natural rhythms. First up, you'll visualize your most obviously ever-changing canvas or cycle of skin renewal. And by canvas, I mean your skin reflects the painting, if you will, going on the inside, on the outside, as opposed to what people do, which is paint the outside to reflect their inner thoughts. Anyway, the sentient vessel, skin, your largest organ, undergoes a continuous process of renewal. The outermost layer, the epidermis, is constantly shedding landscape. Expired skin cells are sloughed off, making way for new cells generated in the deeper layers. This cyclic function occurs on a fast gear. Keep in mind, or keep in focus, the watch visual. Timing scale for this cycle to make a complete turnover of the epidermis takes approximately 28 days in general, based on additional factors such as care, abuse, blood lineage, sun communication efficiency, just to name a few factors. The process, according to known science, says that basal cells located at the deepest layer of the epidermis constantly divide and push upwards. As they mature, they transform into various specialized cells called keratinocytes, the predominant cell type that provide the skin's barrier function. These cells eventually reach the surface, expire, and become the familiar flakes you shed throughout a day. Move to your hair and its growth-regrowth cycle. Hair growth is another example of a cyclical process influenced by hormones and blood lineage. Each hair follicle undergoes a 3-phase cycle according to known science, which means these are relative factors. They are anagen, or growth phase. This is the active growth period lasting anywhere between 2 and 7 years for scalp hair. During this phase, hair follicles are constantly producing new hair cells, resulting in visible hair growth. The next is catagen, or transition phase, a short transitional phase lasting a few weeks where the hair growth slows down and the hair follicle detaches from the blood supply. And then the third, or resting phase, is the telogen phase. The hair follicle enters a resting phase that lasts about 3 months. The hair is no longer growing and is eventually shed to make way for a new hair to grow in the same follicle. Your vessel or body boasts numerous other components that experience renewal cycles, for example, the liver. This portal-generating organ possesses a potent regenerative capacity. It was designed to be this way. Liver cells can replicate and replace damaged tissue, allowing the liver to maintain its vital functions. Next, move downward to your gastrointestinal lining. The inner lining of your digestive tract is constantly being renewed. Cells lining the stomach and intestines have a short lifespan, a few days, to ensure efficient nutrient absorption and barrier function. This wisely designed component, or series of components, take serious abuse and receive very little, if any, respect. It is also a key influencer in sequencing of timing factors, one of which you know as so-called aging. So the more you abuse it, the faster you go. Or maybe that should be the slower you go, pun intended. We go deeper now into your red blood cells. These oxygen-carrying non-stop workers have a lifespan of about 120 days according to so-called science. They are continuously produced in the bone marrow to replace aging red blood cells that are removed from circulation by your spleen. Now you know one major or vital spleen purpose or function. Yes, of course, there are other functions as well. Your participation is appreciated. This part of the Podisode ends here. The longer version is available only to subscribing participants. Subscribe today through one of the links shown in the description to absorb the entire Podisode.